Dear Thầy, dear Sangha, this time we revise together a Buddhist chronology of legendary events from the Buddha time to our modern era. Let's have a look at our first slide. Siddhartha Gautama, or the future Buddha, was born in the year of 563 before the Common Era. He was born in Kapilavastu in present-day Nepal and lived for 80 years. The city where he was born is called Lumbini, around 200 maybe kilometers north of Varanasi, known as Benares today. The Buddha was known as Siddhartha Gautama to his father Suddhodana, king of Kapilavastu, and his mother Mahamaya, princess of the Koliya. At the early age of 16, the prince was married to his cousin Yasodhara, the only daughter of King Supabuddha and Queen Pamita of the Koliya. Confronted with the different sufferings of the world, Siddhartha Gautama was determined to seek for a path of deliverance of all suffering. Applying himself and practicing very, very diligently, he, following his quest for an answer, he sought guidance from various famous sages, but was not satisfied. In his wanderings, he finally reached Uruvela by the river of Neranjara in the Gaya, where he decided to stay and live with the Kondana brothers. Kondana, Badiya, Vapa, Mahanama, and Asaji. He practiced ascetic discipline with the Kondana brothers and found out that self-mortification is not the way leading to enlightenment. So he abandoned ascetic practice, which is containing extreme fasting and self-mortification, and start to take normal food. The 5 companions left him in their disappointment. Nevertheless, with firm determination and complete faith in his own strength, he resolved to make his final journey in complete solitude, practicing hard, and at the age of 35, he attained full awakening. He stayed in Uruvela for 7 weeks and made up his mind to communicate his insight to his former friends, the 5 ascetics, the Kondana brothers. So there at the deer park in Isipitana, he addressed his first Dharma talk to the 5 ascetics, known today as turning the wheel of the Dharma, or in Sanskrit, or in Pali, Dhammasaka Pavatana Sutta. Thus, the Buddha continued his teaching mission, which lasted to the end of his life. The Buddha established the order of nuns, Bhikkhuni Sasana, for the first time in history, for never before this had been an order where women could lead a celibate life of renunciation. People as well as disciples joined the Sangha. The tradition became, with some rituals, a kind of ceremony where the adherent pronounced the threefold formula known as the three refugees, Tisasana. We used to say Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dharmam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. So as a result, the increasing of monks and nuns, monastery also grew in number, and in later times, monastic Indian universities like Nalanda, Vikramasila, and Odantapuri became teaching centers which greatly influenced the whole of Asia. After successful ministry for about 45 years, the Buddha passed away at the age of 80 at the Sala Grove in Kusinara. Now, around that time, the year 501, this is the approximate time when Lao Tzu and Confucius, the China great philosopher and teachers, meet in China. And the year 486, there was the first council of Buddhism, which was held at Rajagraha to recite and check the complete Vinaya and the Sutra. This council was presided over by Mahakasyapa, the next Buddhist patriarch. 386, the second council of Buddhism is held at Vaisali. During this second council, people observe the first schism or conflict between two rival groups within the Sangha, the Mahasangika and the Staviraradins. In the years of 371, we notice the great Confucian teacher Manchu is active in China. Manchu emphasizes the teachings of righteousness and humanity and the inherent quality of all people. 272, Emperor Asoka promotes Buddhism to the level of national religion in northern India. 250, the important third council of Buddhism is held in Pataliputra and totally in Pali accounts and was presided over by Emperor Ashoka. 247, important event. Mahinda, son of Emperor Ashoka, introduces Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Then we can see the year between 100 before Christian era to 100 after Christian era. This was the time where most of the Mahayana Sutra texts were written and were also recorded in the final form in the language called Pali. All the Mahayana Sutra as well as the Tripitaka, which is named as the Buddhist canon, were all written during that time. The next slide shows us again the important appearance of the Mahayana teachings between the 0 and the 200 years of the Christian era in northern India and eventually spread to Central Asia, Tibet, part of Southeast Asia, China, and other area of East Asia. In 185, after the Christian era, the popular text of the Mahayana teachings the Vimalakirti Sutra, which relates the teaching of a lay bodhisattva in dialogue with the Bodhisattva Manjusri, is first translated into Chinese. During the years between 300 and 400, people were blessed by the work of two brothers who also were known as philosophers, Asanga and Vasubandhu. They are both active in northern India, in the region of Kashmir. They established the principle of the Yogasara school that we will have a chance to talk about. Vasubandhu, in addition, wrote the massive Abhidharma Kosa, which is a summation of early Buddhist philosophy that was regarded as a monument by later generations. 420, the Mahayana text of the Avatamsaka Sutra, known also as the Flower Garland, is first translated into Chinese. 526, very important event, the Bodhidharma, the 28th Indian patriarchs, considered as the direct descendants of the Buddha lineage, arrived in China. What an important event. He met Emperor Wu of the Liang dynasty and was not received warmly by the emperor. So Bodhidharma eventually moved on to Shaolin Temple in northern China. And he used to meditate in a cave there for 9 years. He was known as the 9 years facing the wall monk. He then transmitted the seals to Hui Ko before passing away. The tradition later called Zen Buddhism developed into what we call a major movement, highly critical of all other schools of the time. This number 3 slide gives you a brief look at the Chinese lineage from the Bodhidharma, which is now considered as the first patriarch of the Chinese Zen Buddhism. Then you have Hui Ko, Sang Chan. Hui Ko in Vietnamese we pronounce Huệ Khả. Number 3, Tăng Sán. Number 4, Đạo Tín. Number 5, Hoàng Nhẫn. And number 6, Huệ Năng. Very important, Huệ Năng. Huệ Năng, who left and went south, established the Southern School that blossomed in China for more than 1,000 years, imagine. Then in the year of 1867, we have the famous monk Lin Chi, our ancestor in Thay's lineage. And then the Lin Chi's teachings came to Vietnam thanks to Zen Master Nguyên Thieu, who with Thạch Liêm established a school in central Vietnam where Thầy Liễu Quán became a monk and practiced there to become the next Liễu Quán school bearing his name, and he really is the patriarch for all the central Vietnam Zen Buddhism. And then we have Thầy, who was born in 1926 and who later established the Order of Interbeing as well as Plum Village that give us the blessing of all the teaching that we have today. and I will have a chance to come back to Thay's lineage in a more detailed way on my next PowerPoint presentation. So again, thank you all for your listening with a deep bow. Bye.